it's PLB with MLB News, back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to the first round of the 2020 MLB Draft. Just finished up a minute ago. And there are some selections that I think teams and fans should be really happy with. But also there are some teams that I'm going to rant a little bit about because their picks, Now, this Atlanta Braves team right here, I might rant a little bit about. So watch till the end of the video because I'm going to be ranting on my favorite team. So if you like this kind of content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you get notified whenever I upload. Make sure to check out my basketball channel. It is PLB with Basketball News. Make sure to subscribe to that channel. Link in the description below to that channel. And sorry for not doing the live stream. It just was not working. And I mean, it just wasn't working. It's simple. But, you know, I've got another video. I figured you guys would probably like this one better anyways. And that's just because you probably wouldn't want to watch 3 hours or 4 hours of something anyways. So I think this was a little bit of a recap as well. So the Tigers had the #1 pick in the MLB draft. And as expected, they selected Spencer Turkleson, first baseman, third baseman, out of Arizona State. And this is a player that I am a big fan of. I think he's going to be very good in his Major League career. I think he's one of the more Major League ready players in this draft. And I think you could definitely see him up with the Tigers as soon as 2022 or 2023. He's probably not going to play in 2020 just because most players after they get drafted do not play in 2020, whether there was a minor league season or a major league season or not. Moving on to the second selection, where I might spend a little bit of time on this one. And the Orioles unexpectedly went with Heston Kjerstad. And I'm about confused as you guys are, to be honest. I have no clue where this came from. I thought they were selecting AC Lacy or Austin Martin here. But no, they went with Heston Kjerstad? Huh? Your best player is in right field. Trey Mancini plays right field. But yet you want to select a right fielder. Such an Orioles move. This makes no sense. I'm sorry for Orioles fans that have to deal with this crap. And they should have selected AC Lacy, Max Meyer, somebody. But they decide to select a right fielder when they could have selected Austin Martin, who is a lot better fit on this team. He can play center field. They still need a replacement from Adam Jones after he left. Moving on to the third selection, where the Marlins again unexpectedly selected Max Meyer, right-handed pitcher out of Minnesota. I thought they were selecting a pitcher here. I thought it was AC Lacy. I thought that was the obvious pick here. And I definitely wanted him to fall in this draft and just go to the Rangers. He is a player that is one of my favorite players in this draft. And I think he's going to be a very good player. Now, does he fit with the Marlins? I don't really think so. I think AC Lacy's a better fit. I think they're right-handed dominant in their starting pitching, and I think AC Lacy would be a better fit. Now, I understand why you go with Max Meyer, but AC Lacy, I think, is the better fit. With the fourth selection, the Kansas City Royals once again unexpectedly selected AC Lacy, left-handed pitcher out of Texas A&M. And this was not who I expected them to pick right here. I thought if Austin Martin is down this low, and I think he's the second best player in this draft, I think they definitely were selecting Austin Martin, who is compared to another player that's on their team in Whit Merrifield. I'm not a big fan of this pick. If you do want to see a video where I grade each first round pick, leave a like on this video. Let's try to get this video to 8 likes. Moving on to the fifth selection, where the Blue Jays select Austin Martin. And this is one of the best picks in this draft right here, in my opinion. I really like his fit on the Blue Jays. Now, they already have Randall Grichuk. He can move over to right field or left field, whichever one. And Austin Martin can play center field, and he's a utility player, which they kind of need. He's not really labeled labeled as a utility player, but I still think he is one. I think he is. I think he's pretty much compared to Whit Merrifield because I think he pretty much is a good comparison to Whit Merrifield. Moving on to the sixth selection, where the Mariners went with Emerson Hancock, right-handed pitcher out of Georgia. And I definitely expected them to select Nick Gonzalez right here, but instead they went with Emerson Hancock. And I don't mind this pick. I actually like it for the Mariners. I think him or Nick Gonzalez would have panned out good for them. And I think Emerson Hancock actually fits very well. He can come up and be a number 2 for this team because their starting pitching is very weak. After the loss of Felix Hernandez, it's pretty much Marco Gonzalez and not a lot of other good pitchers, to be honest. Moving on to the seventh selection, where the Pittsburgh Pirates selected Nick Gonzalez, second baseman out of New Mexico State. And when the first 6 selections were made, I figured Nick Gonzalez would be the perfect fit on the Pirates. And I think that still. And I think that he is going to replace Adam Frazier. I think Adam Frazier is going to be moved to the outfield. I'm thinking particularly left field, you're going to have JT Riddle in center field. And I think he fits very good on this team. I think he's another one of those players that could be up very quickly. Moving on to the 8th selection, where the Padres selected Robert Hassel. And I thought they were going to go with Zach Veen here, to be honest with you. And I didn't think Robert Hassel was the best pick, but that's what they went with. I am not a big fan of this pick. I think Zach Veen fits a little better with this team, but okay. With the 9th selection, the Rockies select Zach Veen, outfielder, Spruce Creek High School. And Zach Veen is actually a really good player, one of the more underrated players in this draft. And I think he can really do some damage in Colorado. And I think he may be one of the factors that may keep Nolan Arenado a Rocky. Yes, you heard that right. He may be one of the factors that can keep Nolan Arenado a Rocky. I think he's going to play a good right field, left field, center field. Wherever you're going to put him, I think he's going to fit very well. I think you could see 30 home runs, 100 RBI seasons from him every season. Moving on to the 10th selection, where I'm a big fan of this pick, and the Angels selected Reed Detmeyers, left-handed pitcher out of Louisville. And I'm a big fan of this pick because, for one, the Angels need pitching. Their pitching sucks. And for two, he fits good with this rotation. They have number 1, obviously, it's Andrew Heaney. Number 2, Shohei Ohtani when he pitches, obviously. Number 3 is Julio Teheran, Dylan Bundy. 4, Reed Detmeyers could be your number 1 or your number 5. And I think this is a very good pick by the Angels. Moving on to the 11th selection, where the Chicago White Sox select Garrett Crochet, left-handed pitcher out of Tennessee. Now, I'm not a particularly fan of this pick, but I think it is a very good pick by the White Sox. If you look at their starting rotation, it is a little bit right-handed heavy, and I like this pick. I think you're going to put him more as in the back end of the rotation. Moving on to the 12th selection, where the Reds select Austin Hendrick, outfielder. And I am a huge fan of this pick for the Reds. I think he fits well if he plays center field, which I think is where he's going to spend most of his time. I think he's going to be another one of those players that is going to be up very quick. I think you could see him up as early as 2022. Moving on to the 13th selection, where the Giants select Patrick Bailey, catcher out of NC State. And I'm about as confused as you viewers are because they already have Joey Bart, who's their number 1 prospect, but yet they want to go with Patrick Bailey at catcher when they have lots of other players. This just does not make a lot of sense. It seems just such like a Giants move. Moving on to the 14th selection, where the Rangers select Justin Focus, second baseman, third baseman, Mississippi State. Meh. I'm not a big fan of this trade. Now, if you're putting him at third base, I'm a lot more of a fan of it. That's just because he can replace Adrian Beltre and Todd Frazier. Not a big fan. Now, the pick that I would have liked to see them go with is who the Phillies picked at 15, Mick Amell, right-handed pitcher. I think he's going to be great in the major leagues. Moving on to the 16th selection, where the Cubs went with Ed Howard, a shortstop. And I'm not. I think they looked for best available here. I don't think they went with the best fit. Ed Howard's the shortstop. You already have Javier Baez there for the foreseeable future. If you're going to move Javier Baez to second base, I'm a more fan of this pick. Moving on to the 17th selection where the Red Sox select Nick Yorkie, shortstop. This just does not make a lot of sense. Some of these picks just does not make a lot of sense to me. And this is one of them. With the 18th selection, the Diamondbacks selected Bryce Jarvis, right-hander out of Duke. And he is a player that I think has definitely got high potential. I think the Mets could have got him at number 19 and would have been a very good fit. Moving on to the 19th selection, where the Mets select they selected Pete Crow Armstrong, outfielder out of Harvard Westlake. And Harvard Westlake has had names like Jack Flaherty, Lucas Giolito, Max Fried come from their school. So you probably do remember them. Now, is Pete Crow Armstrong the best fit on this team? I don't particularly think so. Maybe you disagree. I don't think so. I think another player would have been a better fit, like a Garrett Mitchell at number 20. The Brewers selected Garrett Mitchell, outfielder, UCLA. He's one of the fastest runners in the class, which means he'll stay in center field for most of his career. I think the Brewers are going to move him over to left field, though. With the 21st selection, the Cardinals selected Jordan Walker. And I actually am a big fan of this pick for the Cardinals. Their third baseman is Matt Carpenter, which not a big fan of him. Moving on to the 22nd selection, which might be one of the best picks in this draft by the defending World Series champions, Washington Nationals, and they selected Cade Cavilla, right-handed pitcher out of Oklahoma. He's a former two-way player, if you didn't know, and I think he's going to be very good. With the 23rd selection, the Indians selected Carson Tucker, a shortstop out of Mountain Point, and I think he is very good. Now, does he fit on the Indians? Yes, if you trade Francisco Lindor. With the 24th selection, the Tampa Bay Rays selected Nick Bitsko, a right-handed pitcher out of Central Bucks East. With the 25th selection, the Braves selected Jared Schuster, left-handed pitcher out of Wake Forest. Now, I'm not a big fan of this pick. Maybe you guys are, I'm not. I would have liked to see a Cole Wilcox here. Cole Wilcox is one of my favorite players in this draft, but they just decided to select him. With the 26th selection, the Athletics select Tyler Soderstrom, a catcher. Once again, another one of these picks that just don't make a lot of sense. You already have a catcher in Sean Murphy. Why are you going to go with another catcher? I just don't understand. With the 27th selection, the Minnesota Twins select Aaron Sabato, first baseman, North Carolina. And I actually like this pick for the Twins. He's a first baseman, which I feel like is a need. Moving on to the 28th selection, where the Yankees select Austin Wells, catcher out of Arizona. Did you see how loud it was when he got selected by the Yankees? I know that has nothing to do with this, but I think he's a good pick. I think he's going to be another one of those players that are kind of going to be up later. I could see a ETA of 2024 for him, a later ETA. And with the last selection in the MLB draft, the Los Angeles Dodgers went with Bobby Miller, a right-handed pitcher out of Louisville. And I think this is a very good pick for the Dodgers. I think he fits well in the back end of that rotation. And I think he's definitely one that you could look in a few years and be like, yep, very good pick by the Dodgers. Why did teams not select him higher? So that's going to be the end of this video. If you like this kind of content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you get notified whenever I upload. I think I might do a video with round 2 tomorrow, or I might do a video on the best available players that are still left after the first round of the draft. So if you like this kind of content, leave a like. Let's try to get this video to 8 likes like I mentioned earlier in the video. Thank you for watching, and I will be back with more videos soon.